This is your boy. My name is Later. Just came from my locals, the tournament this past Sunday, a couple days ago. Went undefeated, 6 rounds with my Blue Eyes deck. I run it a little bit different than other people. Not to sound cliche, but kind of do. I haven't seen anyone run it like this. I've been playing Blue Eyes since I was a kid. I've been playing with the new cards since they first announced them online before all the cards was announced. So, I got a little bit of experience with this right now, but let me just get straight into the profile. Obviously, can't run a Blue Eyes deck without Blue Eyes. 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons. I do run Jet Dragon. I do see a lot of people do not run Jet Dragon. I didn't want to be one of those guys talking about, hey, I run this, but people don't run this. This card is OP. I just don't want to cut Jet. I'm not sure if the deck is better with him or without him. I personally just don't want to cut Jet. I already like Jet. It's easy to get out. You could use the new spell card to get him out. You could use Shade Effect on Maiden to cheat him out. Seal to get him out. Use the Beastal to get him in your hand. He's just too free, and the threat of bouncing cards and him protecting your field he's just too good for me to take him out. Obviously, 3 Maidens. Y'all know Maiden. You can't run the deck without Maiden. 3 Wishes. I've been thinking about putting Wishes at 2, only because there's times where maybe you draw the new spell card. These are the only 2 targets for Wishes. So they be times where I draw Wishes and this, and then I could use Wishes 1 time and I could get this, and then that's it. Or I use Wishes to get one of these, and I use True Light to get this, and then you can't use Wishes again. You can't use Wishes unless you have a spell, trap target, and a tuner. So once these 2 are out of my deck, this card is dead in my hand. That's the only reason why I'm thinking about putting it at 2. But I'm leaving it at 3 for now because it's not that often that the game lasts long enough for that really to be a problem. But it came up a couple times during the tournament, so this had me thinking a little bit. Of course, you have to run 3 Sages. What's the Blue Eyes deck without Sage? This is mandatory. This gets you this. This gets you Effect Veiler. This gets you another light tuner that I have in the deck. Is this effect to target Maiden? You target Maiden with this. Maiden's effect brings us back in the field. Sage gives you Jet. It's just one of the best normal summons in the deck. Obviously, we have Mollyseum. Can't run Blue Eyes without True Light now. And then the 2 new cards. If you're playing anybody, just know if they use this, they cannot special summon anything out their extra deck except for dragon cards. Some people forget about that. I've seen people at the tournament use this card and special summon something else out their extra deck. Don't let them do that to you. I do run the Primite version, so there's 3 Ether Barrels, 3 Lords, 1 Drill Beam. Think about putting 2 Drill Beams just because this is my favorite card. This is probably my favorite card in the whole deck. This a negate banish is ridiculously OP. I did spend quite a few bucks on this deck. Blue Eyes is my favorite, so I wanted to go ham. But I did get these for 14 each. Before Ether Barrel was out, I was running a Primite version of Blue Eyes just because I really liked it. Thankfully, I did because I got all of these just for less than $10 of these for 14 each. Someone in my Discord that I'm a part of sold me 3 of these, $100 each. So I got a good deal on that. That's it for the Primite engine. And then the other engine that I run that I don't see people running, I've started to see people talk about it now, but I've been using this engine in my deck for a couple months now. And that's the Fiendsmith engine. I did it at first a couple months ago as just a joke because that's when everyone, after Trish won the YCS with Razo Fiendsmith, everyone started putting Fiendsmith in everything. So I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to put it in my Blue Eyes deck. And it turned from just kidding around to I really like this version. Obviously, you have to run this. All Fiendsmith packages come with this basically. And Fiendsmith Paradise, and then Mirror Resonator. This is a light fiend and it's a tuner. So you can search this with Sage. You could search this with wishes, and you could use this as your second normal summon when you have Mollisam or White up. Not only that, if your opponent has a special summon monster from the extra deck, you can special summon Mirror Resonator. But if you use this card to make Requiem or whatever, it gets banished if you special summon it that way. But other than that, it works as normal. But the fact that it's a Light Fiend is searchable through Track, searchable through Sage, searchable through Wishes. And if you don't want to do the Fiendsmith combo, you already did it. You could just use this to synchro with your Blue Eye stuff. It's just too good. Actually want me a game where I didn't draw my Fiendsmith stuff, but I had this. So I did my regular Blue Eyes combo. Then I summoned this as my second summon and went into Fiendsmith, summoned Desiree, and then they just scooped from there. My non-engine, I have 2 Effect Veilers. I used to run 3. I run 3 in my regular Blue Eyes version, but Fiendsmith version, I just run the 2. Whenever you want Effect Veiler, you can get it. Sage searches it, Wishes searches it. You never find yourself needing Effect Veiler and not having it. It's 2 searchable. So 2 is perfectly fine. 3 Ash Blossoms, 3 Imperms. This is a staple in every single deck. I only run 2 Purges. The deck is 45, so I didn't want to make it too much. 2 Purges is good enough, because with these 2 and Ash Blossom, that's basically 5 Ash Blossoms, so that's good enough. I run 1 Beastal. This is just so I can interrupt other people's Fiendsmith plays. This is so, let's say my opponent goes first, or maybe I go first, doesn't matter. If I don't open up with Ether, this gets me Ether. Or sometimes I just use this to get me Jet. And then I run 3 Triple Tactic Talents. Now this card was the undeniable MVP for me going undefeated. I don't have Fawalo, so I ran this instead. Many times during the tournament, I drew really good hands with this. So I didn't need to use this to draw 2. Instead, I used it to just rip a card out of my opponent's hand. There was a duel where I was going against Razio, Mr. Guri. The guy had Dual Drive, he had the Ritual Monster, and he had Detonator. I had used Ultimate Slayer on a Detonator. That's in my side deck. We'll get to that soon. I had used Ultimate Slayer on a Detonator. And then I went to use Imperm on the Ritual card. And for some reason, he activated the effect. I don't know why, because either way, the Ritual card wouldn't have the negate effect anymore. So I obviously let it go. But because he activated the effect, I used Triple Tactics. And I ripped the card out of his hand. And then I went from there. The second match, I went first. So the first match I went first. That Ritual Dual Drive stuff was the second match. The first match I went first, and I had activated Fiendsmith. He used Ash Blossom, so I used this. Ripped the the green Razio with that sword right out of his hand, and all he had was the Mr. Guri stuff. But with the negates that I put on the board with Blue Eyes, that Mr. Guri stuff wasn't doing nothing. But this clutch, because if your hand is good, you have 3 engines. You have Fiendsmith, Primite, Blue Eyes. One card starters in all 3. So if they use a hand trap, you don't really care. If you draw 1 card for each of these, they use a hand trap on this. Okay, I'll draw 2, and now I have my Blue Eyes and Primite engine. Or if you have this, they use a hand trap on the Link Monster or Sage or Ether Barrel. Okay, cool. I use this. Now I have access to all 3 engines. And then if you don't need access to the engine, you just use this and you take something out the hand. If you're going second, you use that and you just take a card off the field. Like I feel like Triple Tactics is broken. The extra decks, the Blue Eyes version of extra deck, I have the Blue Eyes portion. I have 2 Spirit Dragons, 1 Ultimate Spirit. Now there's really no way in this deck to keep him on the field. So what I do is I will just summon the Spirit. Most decks have graveyard effects. Once I get that graveyard negate off, I sub him right out for this. Then depending on the deck, you make a decision on the fly. You feel like you don't want to wait for that graveyard negate. You just take him right out. You put this, because at the end of the day, at the end of that turn, once he leaves through the destruction effect, he puts him right back on the field. So he's just really there for that quick Omni negate after I negate something in the grave. The only other Blue Eyes Synchro card I play is Lightstone Dragon. This card came in clutch because it got me Majesty back on the field and it got me Imprint back on the field in the duels that I needed it. If this card gets sent from the field to the grave, you can set a spell trap card from your graveyard. So one time I had to put Majesty right back, 2 pops. Another time I had put an Imperm, which I really needed it on my turn because he had detonated. Boom, that was just that simple. I do run Heraldic Seal, clutch. If you can make this, make this. This is too clutch. I run 2 spirits. And then, of course, Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate. And this is probably the second MVP of the deck. Blue Eyes Tower Dragon. There's always recycling that Majesty, always recycling an Imperm, always recycling a Dominus Purge. Just getting you that extra trap, like extra Majesty. Like this card getting you Majesty and this getting you Majesty, this makes Majesty really broken. Like on its own, it's not that broken, but when you can use it and then summon this, attack, and then get it back if your opponent is not dead, and then on their turn, another 2 pops, especially since Majesty doesn't target, he's ridiculous. There's also a card I have on my side deck that makes him a little bit better, but that attacking everything is, I just feel like it's a little too much sometimes. Like it could really come in handy. It comes in handy a lot. Then I do have Chaos Angel, which I feel like is kind of the little bridge between the two engines in the extra deck, because you can make this with using the Blue Eye stuff, and obviously you can make this using the Fiendsmith stuff. My favorite card, DDD Highway King. If you ever have the Fiendsmith engine, you go immediately into this every single time. Unless you're going second, then maybe you don't go into this, but I go into this every single time. Stop that Nibiru. If they don't stop you from getting this out, they don't have Nibiru. But stopping 2 special summons in a deck that has negates, you have Jobin face down, you have Majesty face down, you stopping 2 of those, you have Ash Blossom, Effect Veiler, Dominus Purge, a Graveyard negate switching into a field Omni negate. Like he really puts the pressure on there. Necro Equip, what I do is, whenever I can, once I get Necro Equip on the field, I would try to use, that's when I'll save my Maiden. Because once she's on the field, you use Maiden, because Maiden goes to the grave to activate her effect. Necro Equip would get you a card, and then you could draw one. So you have both. If you can get Maiden and you can get this out first, then use Maiden just to get that free draw one. Obviously Desiree, Requiem, and Sequence. Desiree, I think I'm only summoned once. Not that I couldn't summon it, it just I only needed to summon it once. For what it was like a little bit of a grind game. I summoned it at one time that I want me to do. They couldn't do nothing with that and the other cards I had on the field. But I always prioritize going into Highway King Caesar. Alright, and that's my extra deck. And for my side deck, I feel like this is kind of a must right now. It feels kind of scummy, especially since I do use Malice. But one of the best ways to take care of Malice is just to put Lancia. I did go against Malice once in a tournament. I swept. I subbed this in the second match. I didn't even draw it. Luckily for me, he didn't draw any of his starters. He drew 2 Dimension Shifters and a Beast Tool, so I was under Dimension Shifter for 4 turns. So I just waited that out, negated, and got rid of his, whenever he did draw a Dormouse, I just packed it up with my other cards until I wasn't under D Shifter, because I had the Primite, Blue Eyes, and Fiendsmith engine all in my hand. I didn't want to activate them yet because, you know, they get banished instead. So once I was finally out of the Dimension Shifter, it was over from there. Ultimate Slayer. This card came in clutch. This wins me matches against Razio almost every time. If I draw this with Aggregator, take out Detonator with this, Adjugator to negate whatever else they have on the field. I did have this in case I went into a mirror match or against Christian. I didn't end up not doing those things, so I didn't use this at all the whole tournament. 3 Nibiru's. Skill Drain actually won me a match. I was going against my mental. I had lost the first match, so going into the second round, I had subbed this in, and I drew it, placed it face down, then on his turn, I activated Skill Drain, and I had Jet. So from there, it was over, because Jet was bringing back the Majesty that I had used on his turn, and then Skill Drain was making it so he couldn't use no monster effects, and I was just attacking everything with Jet. He ended up scooping after that. And then I do run 3 Perulia, because this was the only more Charmy I had. I thought maybe I would sub out Talents. Like if I wanted and they put me to go second, maybe it'd be better to have Perulia instead of Talents. But I just never did it. I either subbed out Talents for Ultimate Slayer almost every time, or when I went against Malice, I subbed it out for this. At the time I had subbed it out for 3 Nibiru just because the guy was selling like crazy. Forgot what that kid was using, so I was like, maybe I just Nibiru with him. So I'm thinking about taking this out and putting maybe Cross-Out Detonator. I thought maybe Thrust, but I don't know. I think maybe Cross-Out Detonator. Just because I never wanted this over this. And then when I did sub this out, it was for Ultimate Slayer to go against Razio. So I think I might just put Cross-Out just for when I go against mirror matches, or I don't want to get Ash Blossom or Nibiru. Cause my biggest fear is just Nibiru because I summon so much. So I could always sub this out, put these in, put 3 Cross-Outs, take out Paradise, and put in Nibiru. My logic, because then the DDD Highway King saves me from Nibiru. The Cross-Out could save me from Nibiru. But let me know what you think of the deck.